What's going on, everybody? This is an episode from the No Gimmicks Needed Wrestling podcast. Do you like podcasts and you want to see the full podcast? Make sure you check out the No Gimmicks Needed Wrestling podcast on all your podcast platforms, such as Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, among many others. But you're listening to the episode right here on YouTube, so make sure you hit that like button and below, and make sure you hit the subscribe button to NC Studios and NC Level Up for all your gaming needs. This is the Nerd Coalition. Enjoy the show. Just recently, I don't know the exact days ago, I think it was April 28th. I'm looking at the article. WWE's gonna be sued again. Like, what's new and water is wet, as we would say. But this time we got a WWE racial discrimination lawsuit is being filed against WWE. When I first heard this news, when Q-Flow sent it to us in the group chat, I was just like, this is honestly what I saw. I said, this has got to try to be a last-ditch effort to try to get Vince in trouble. Because honestly, out of all the shit he has done already, he really shouldn't even be in the position that he's in right now.
You know what's funny? It's funny. It's more funny because I'm the one who sent that to us. But when I read the outline, I thought we was talking about like The Rock and them who's getting sued for that kidnapping thing.
That whole Rock and Khan thing. Okay, so here's the deal with that.
I thought we were talking about that. I was like, wait, oh snap, I forgot.
Yeah. Okay, so the thing about the Rock and Khan thing is one, two things. Number one, I did not do my research on that because I heard about it and I heard the name Rock and Khan, and I'm not even going to lie to you, I kind of dismissed it, right? Which I shouldn't have done that like that, but I have not done enough research on that. And from what Lady Sketch was telling me about it and stuff like that, I was just like, so that looks like it's going to be more for, you know, the entertainment pleasure, because I really don't know, because I would say I really have not been following Rock and Khan for a long time, since like the Freakzilla days. But this one came up, and when I was hearing the details about it, I was just like, this is some sick shit.
But
I'm listening.
Are we shocked?
No, not at all.
No.
And that's crazy.
No, but see, we not shocked at all, because like I said, and water is wet. But however, even hearing the things that was in this lawsuit, when I was, doing the read over and listening to some other people talk about it, and I was just like, there's a serious problem here that needs to be addressed. And when I say that, it starts from the head. The head is the first to rot. But if that doesn't, this is a whole problem, and this also is let's put this out. This is not going to do anything to stop Vince. Vince ain't going to jail. Vince is going to do what he always does. He's going to throw money at it and move on to the next problem. That's how Vince is going to handle it. However, this right here, I do believe, is a stepping stone of things to pile up, because eventually it gets, the rug gets too bulky to keep pushing stuff underneath there. It's going to come out in a bad way. But I got to go over this thing because former WWE writer, her name was Brittany Abrams, is suing WWE alleging discrimination and excuse me, still trying to get over the cold, retaliation during her time with the promotion. The lawsuit, which names Vince McMahon and other company employees Chris Dunn, Ryan Callahan, Jennifer Peppermint, Christina Limbarno, Mike Heller, and Stephanie McMahon, cites offensively racist and stereotypical jargon used in WWE scripts. Abrams, who claims she was fired over taking a commemorative chair despite her male Caucasian colleagues doing the same with no resource, is seeking reinstatement, damages, and declaratory judgment, and an injunction restraining defendants from engaging in such unlawful conduct. Now, I'm not going, there is like fucking 30 pages of documents. I'm not going over all 30 pages. But there are things that was picked out that I'm reading, because I'm reading it off the Forbes website. And I have another one that's pulled up here from the Miami Herd that I pulled up about the pinpointing certain things that was happening on there, opposed to going over each and every. I mean, they're going over like throughout the whole storyline thing.
You have the one with Mansoor?
I do have the one with Mansoor. That was
That's the worst one to be, honestly.
That was just disgusting.
And you know what? When I heard the Mansoor one, I kind of was like, man, oh wow, like I don't remember Muhammad Hussein.
Really? Like, really? So, so the plaintiff, which is Brittany Abrams, a black woman and a fellow black writer, Kayla Silvers, were allegedly tasked with pitching a love story. Okay, that was. I want to wait till I get to that one because that's what I probably said. That was kind of deep. The first one I'll start with, the light one, is the one with Bianca Belair. Now, did y'all hear the one about the Bianca Belair one?
Yeah.
Yeah, where...
You know, that one I didn't hear about.
Okay, so WWE writer Chris Dunn, who I think is like the senior vice president of this stuff, Abrams came with him for saying that, according to the lawsuit, scripted that that Belair said, don't make me take off my earrings and beat your ass. The lawsuit alleges that, the writer, the plaintiff, was uncomfortable with this and went to Doug multiple times to try to get this, change, because for this though it was stereotypical of a dark-skinned black woman or being an angry black woman, which we hear all the times. Also, Bianca Belair herself went to Chris Dunn on 3 different times and said that in a script that she didn't want to say this line, but he never listens to me, and he puts that in her scripts or promos every single week. This was happening back in 2021. Remind that Bianca has won the Royal Rumble, and Bianca is a top star on that company. She's not on the level of a Tegan Knox. Okay, let's put it out there. If Bianca feels uncomfortable, if one of your top stars feels uncomfortable, I'm not saying if they're a lower star feels uncomfortable, but if Bianca's come to you saying she feels uncomfortable with a certain line, you need to take that line out. And that's kind of the discussion.
Are you right? Yes. I don't disagree with you. We talking about the same company that Sasha and Naomi walked out talking about there was problems without going in. We talk about the same company less than 1 or 2 years ago released a shirt with a graven image on it. And this is, like you said, in the past couple years. Yeah, this all sounds factual, and the company does what it normally do. Yeah, whatever. We're gonna do it anyway.
Yeah. Now, this is the environment that Vince McMahon has created. This is the environment. This is the people that he's put in there, because all this is going to come to that. Also, the plaintiff stated that she emailed Callahan and complained about Apollo Crews' exaggerated Nigerian accent. Crews is of Nigerian descent, however, he was made to speak in an accent. This is from 2020, the pandemic era, to 2021, where he also carried a spirit to the ring. He had Commander Aziz. Now, when that first happened, I was like, okay, I kind of liked it, because Apollo Crews was a charismatic vacuum. He had nothing. And I'm a fan of Apollo Crews, especially when it comes to his work. But he had nothing. So when that gimmick came up, I can't sit there, because I'm not going to, for the sake of this, not tell you all the truth. I was like, oh, it gives Apollo something to do. I'm kind of feeling it, right? But not knowing what the behind the scenes problems of this really was and how they viewed it. Now, there is also a thing in this document where the plaintiff, a black woman, and the fellow black writers, Kayla Silvers, were allegedly tasked with pitching a love story between Aaliyah, Mansoor, and Angel Garza. the storyline would allegedly involve Mansoor, which, by the way, was like 5 or 6 years old in 2001. Just give y'all a date out there. Revealing that he was secretly behind the 9/11 terrorist attacks. New details suggest... Now, that alone is stupid.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just... Even if it was just a joke, because first of all, you already know that you can't... They wouldn't air that, especially after, like, what Quattro said with the Muhammad Assad thing. You already knew they wasn't going to... They wouldn't even be able to air that. They wrote Muhammad Assad out, which it wasn't even his fault. They did the storyline, they were inconsiderate, and they blamed it all on him. Now, how would that look with y'all in the deal with the Saudi Arabians?
They'd have did it again. They'd have put that on him again.
No, bro, you with some blood money. That you think that what was it? That interview that went missing? You think Vince won't show up missing? This ain't.
I don't know. Vince got a lot of money too. He can fight.
Yeah, but so do they.
I can't say 100% yes.
Yeah, look, that Muhammad Assad, them even showing. So here's the thing: WWE in 2005 is not WWE in 2023. That was just WWE. Now we got sponsors. We got this deal with Endeavor that still is being looked through right now, being combed through. We got all these sponsorships. WWE didn't have all that back in 2005, so they can do what they want. Blame on somebody else and get rid of them. Not today. Not with the deals they got played. Not today.
And this goes to an honest truth. Things that people have been saying for a long time. Yo, Vince, I respect what you did to give me this fandom that I love. I'm not changing my stance on that. But that doesn't mean that your ideas are correct or relevant anymore. It's a different time than what it was then. And if it wasn't right then, it hell ain't right now.
That's honestly the truth of it, dog. Like, yo, get out of these old head bags for like a week. Please.
Yep, and cue folk about it because it brings up another interesting point. Okay, remember when Mustafa Ali was teaming up with Mansoor? They was a tag team, right? And all of a sudden that stopped. That stopped around October 2021. Then there was reports of a shouting match between Mustafa Ali and Vince McMahon about creative differences, they put it, in November. And next thing we know is that's when this story was scrapped and Mustafa Ali asked for his release. Coincidence?
Absolutely not.
I'm just saying.
It was clearly connected.
Okay, and I'm just sitting there saying because I'm like, okay.
And Mufasa is still paying for it in Vince's eyes. Look at his character.
What'd you say?
Mufasa's still paying for it in Vince's eyes. Are you gonna go against me? Okay, let's see where your career go. Because the promise,
man's name is not.
Okay, look.
His name is not Mufasa. It's Mustafa.
I'm wrong. You right.
It's, along with that, there has also been a lot of things going on with Superstar Reggie, who now goes by Scripps in NXT. And they had pitched the idea for him to dress up in drag on television to team up with Carmella and go through the women's division. And there was a writer,
like a modern day Vito.
That Vito shit was stupid too. That whole Vito shit was stupid also. I cannot remember the name of this person, this writer who happened to be a white lady who said, "Hey, this may be offensive to our viewers on television." And first of all, how are we going to talk women's revolution? How are we going to talk about this new stuff about the women when y'all got men dressing up as women beating up other women? The whole the whole thing with what's the guy's the Ellsworth dude that was with Carmella? What's his name?
James Ellsworth.
Yeah, James Ellsworth.
No Chin.
Yeah, the one who had to win the first Money in the Bank, women's Money in the Bank for Carmella.
Mm-hmm.
And Carmella couldn't do it herself. That makes no fucking sense. So
look, how long WWE been doing this though? Santina Marella.
But you know, look, I'm saying.
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
But even pointing out how long WWE has been doing this is pointing out more of the problem. More of the problem with them, more of the problem with us, and more of the problem with society. That's, you know, we can sit here all day and talk about how long WWE been doing this, but that does nothing but highlight the bigger problem. Especially in all this stuff here that's going on. Not only was that the only thing Reggie was supposed to be a part of, another example, in the spring of 2021, Abram Superior came up with the idea involving a hunting gimmick for a white Australian wrestler to act as a crocodile hunter to hunt a black wrestler for fun.
Nope.
Do you know who that wrestler was?
Who was it?
Shane Thorne. Because at
Mordecai?
Huh?
Mordecai?
No. Shane Thorne wasn't Mordecai.
He wasn't? I thought he was.
No.
Wait, Shane Thorne, dude that was in
TM61? Who was Slapjack?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes, that Shane, who's Australian. And they wanted him to go and hunt people, black people, especially like Reggie, and capture him in cages. And Reggie always finds a way to escape, because you know Reggie, you know, is that the guy who can do all the flips and stuff like that, and
yeah,
see him escape, and he will continuously keep hunting him, which would have probably just been a 24/7 gimmick for a 24/7 belt. I said,
nah.
I'm like, so.
Because you know what's going to happen? First is going to be Reggie. Next thing you know, R-Truth is there making it, quote unquote, y'all don't see my hands, quote unquote, funny.
Yeah.
Because it's R-Truth.
Facts.
So Abrams called this racist, which it is, which her superior responded, "Oh, what? Is that a bad thing?"
It's not good, but it is true. There is a lot of foundations of racism in wrestling, but as we've said, the old guard still has this mind of it got over then, is going to get over now, and that needs to change.
Quattro, what racist gimmick ever got over? I'll wait.
I actually want to hear this too. They were talking about, people were talking about when JBL was kicking the Mexicans out. That's been going viral.
The Mexicals, yeah. No, yeah. Well, I remember the Mexicals. What racist
people
gimmick?
argue the Mexicals, Primetime, JBL.
Yeah. What
Full-blood Italians wasn't over to me, but I've seen them on TV too much.
What racist, stereotypical, that was not in like enlightening, empowering gimmick? Because I'm saying so that already takes the nation out of this. What racist stereotype gimmick ever got over?
Does Yokozuna count?
Huh?
Does Yokozuna count?
You know what?
I don't think so. Does it count?
I wouldn't. I don't. Because first of all, I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I'm not going to just say yeah to make a point, and I'm not going to say no to make a point. I really don't know, because honestly, I didn't know Yokozuna was Samoan until after he died. I'm being completely honest with you, and that's on me.
You know what's crazy though? Yeah, because I mean, the thing with Yokozuna was he looked Asian. Like his eyes were always like a little closed, so he looked Asian. So I always thought he was Asian until I found out he wasn't.
I did too.
But when it comes to like y'all just said, the Mexicans, they didn't get over. When it comes to Saba
Mexicans
Simba,
was not over.
Saba Simba didn't get over. Hakeem, the African Dream.
Would you consider Eddie Guerrero leaning into his heritage at the amount he did? Would you consider that racist?
It is, because first of all, it's not his heritage. I think that's what a lot of people. I think that's a stereotype. Heritage.
Oh yeah.
Is being a luchador. That's your heritage. A stereotype is lying, cheating, and stealing. They lead them into the stereotype. Did the stereotype get over? Yeah, because at the time, when does anybody want to know that it's like, hey, this is a really kind of like distasteful stereotype? We laughing, we enjoy it because it's Eddie Guerrero. He's on TV. He's getting over because it's Eddie Guerrero. But leading into his heritage is luchador, which they did in the early parts of his career, not in the later parts.
So let me propose this.
Bro, they had Rey Mysterio rapping a song talking about you gotta cross the border. Let's not forget about that.
And that, you know, that's piggybacking on what I'm saying. Do you think, with us having this conversation right now, is it racist versus is it a stereotype versus is it just that gimmick? Do you think that's how the executives feel? I'm not trying to protect them. I'm trying to look at this a different way.
I don't think. Okay, the way I feel about it is it's the environment that you have put out. For instance, everybody knows about the cool kid in high school, right? Whether you're cool, popular, or you just want to be a part of that group, like my son did in school, you're naturally going to follow who's the lead. If whoever is the lead in whatever environment they create, you're going to think it's okay to think like that. Vince McMahon has a very toxic old white man's mind. That's who he is. So these stereotypes to him are funny. Vince McMahon don't use social media. I don't care what people say on his Twitter, with my fingers up. He don't use social media. Somebody's writing that for him. Vince don't know what the world is past 1980. Vince does not understand anybody's culture but rich white man's culture. That's it. So everything else is what he feels as though is toilet humor is funny to this guy. So whatever the stereotype is for Muslims, Hispanics, African Americans, and women have shown over the years, the excuse has been it's wrestling. They're acting. This is a character. That's the excuse. Not knowing what they had to deal with back in the day. Everything that we used to like, everybody talking about to bring the action era back, everything we used to like really was trash. The Godfather was a pimp that's based off blaxploitation. Coming out here with all these white hoes. The women were number hoes. The women who could actually wrestle had the result to brawl panty competitions all the time. Ivory could wrestle. Jacqueline could wrestle.
And this is wrestling heavy as a whole. Wrestling heavy as a whole leans into stereotypes across the board. You get super American characters, super Hispanic characters, super black stereotypical characters. Wrestling's very stereotypical at the end of the day.
I mean, a lot of things are very stereotypical at the end of the day. But what makes this different is what I'm trying to say. Or what brings us to this attention is the fact that, listen, we have people that are back here that as the world is changing, they're not. As the world is evolving, they're not. And there are too many people that are accepting of this. Then let's say this. I listen to a lot of podcasts, a lot of wrestling podcasts. 90% of everybody that's talking about this topic are white people. And I'm like, well, we're a black podcast. This is dealing with stuff that we deal with. We should talk about it. Now, honestly, how many people coming to the table really want to talk about this? That's the problem.
more than likely people trying to stay away from it.
Exactly. So when you try to stay away from it, you don't fix the problem. So then when somebody brings this up and they like, hey, I'm suing for this, they're bringing something to the table that nobody had the balls to do for all them years. That's why when I was saying, every time you talk about, well, this is WWE and this is what they used to doing, that is just further showing of how many people that were back there. You can't say everybody that worked for WWE agreed with this shit. Not many people had the balls to say something about it. See, right now we live in an era where it's now, hey, I have the balls to say something, whether it's something sexist, racist, homophobic, whatever the case may be. I have the balls to say something, to understand that this is an untruth that needs to be highlighted. Because with all these stereotypes, like, as of right now, you sit there and look at certain things, and it's just like, okay, well, maybe that offends me, maybe that doesn't offend me, and some people just not going to understand what offends me and what doesn't offend me. But sometimes you have to look like, yo, man, you know what? Clearly, this ain't really right. Wrestling or not, acting or not, this ain't really right. Especially when the head finds this funny. Especially, and if this is an HR problem, like Lady Sketch was telling me, and you go to the HR department, and I'm pretty sure everybody on here is familiar with the HR department, and you go to them with a problem, and they dismiss your problem. That's a problem. Especially when they're HR. This, according to these documents, this woman has gone and complained multiple times to her head writers, because the name keeps coming up a lot, is Ryan Callahan, who's his vice president about this, and he's been making all these remarks. How does he still have a job? Now, after all this came out and became public, he may get fired. Because that's how they do it. Vince got to blame somebody else that's under him. But this is Vince's team. Triple H is working with Vince's team. He built this.
Also, honestly, firing people is used as a scapegoat in the workplace. Hey, look, I got rid of the problem. Hey, man, you just got to take this hit. All right, guys, we're going to keep it pushing.
Exactly. But and you know, as right now, it doesn't really kind of like fix the problem. And it having all these issues, and having all these different stories of, especially the Reggie story, especially the Mansoor stories, and like, I mean, like, how this, do you know how distasteful it is to even joke about that when you have somebody on your roster who actually lost her father in them attacks? That y'all make that known every single year? You know how distasteful that is?
It's wrong.
Bruh.
They don't care. They're not going to be penalized.
Yeah, that's the thing that's making me mad. Is I don't really see anybody getting fired from this unless, I don't know. No, you know what it is? When Vince hit that loophole and got his job back, I'm like, dog, this man's in. So I don't know. I just like, in the long scheme, the end game of things, I don't even know if this is even like worth, like, if it's even worth it. Like, because what's going to come of it? The man just he done spent the budget on hush money, fired half the roster, and still somehow got his job back off a loophole. I don't know, man. Like,
no,
I just don't know.
You are so right, because what can hit Vince in the pocket if people wasn't, you know, buying his product anymore, right? That's what we really have to change. Be 100. Is that going to happen?
Like,
okay, but look,
that's what I'm saying.
It's not.
Can I ask y'all a question though?
Listening.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many women got arrested before Rosa Parks?
I'm going to say it's probably multiple, but I'm not going to say I know who they are.
I don't have a number for you.
With situations like this, everything that you know, the history books want to teach you, or what, you know, they want to say in certain documentaries or TV, it always seems like, you know what, hey, everybody, gays, African Americans, Hispanics, Asians, Native Americans, we all just one day got tired and we stood up for our rights, and we won. That's not how the story happened. Because the same issue that we're feeling with Vince McMahon right now, he's so powerful. How is he able to keep doing this? That's exactly how this world is. Whereas, but it always starts with somebody got to have the balls to take the first step, and then it has to keep piling on. This thing right here,
I'm saying you're right.
Yeah.
But then that brings up a true argument, which could be going too far. You arguing winning. Have we won?
When it comes to us, you're talking wrestling or black people?
Hold on. How many? Which is this scandal number 2? As far as like Vince is involved.
Okay, see, that's what I was about to bring up.
I was about to say, because death coming 3, so this is number 3.
Because
I changed my
here's the thing. This is right now on the surface. Nothing's going to happen with this, because what Vince is going to do is he's going to throw money at this. Hush money, not hush money, like pay the woman off, whatever the case may be. But what this does do is Vince has somebody he has to answer to in Endeavor. This deal ain't done yet. It probably won't be done.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Endeavor.
This deal is probably gonna be done 2024. One thing.
Pack them up.
The one thing that this other guy's president of Endeavor is, you're not gonna have all these accusations, lawsuits, and stuff piling up while I'm trying to make this deal, and you're going to be the face of this shit. You're not going to do that. Because then, whether it ain't about he's a savior. No, you fucking with my money. When you fuck with my money, you got to go. Whatever is going to come out between Vince from now until we got a year before this whole Endeavor thing becomes like officially official. It's kind of like with the whole Fox and Disney thing. Like as soon as they's like, oh, we made a deal, X-Men, it's like, no, bro, we gotta work this stuff out. Make sure all the stuff was legal into this. But if he keeps piling up these lawsuits, little things that keep piling up, whether it be racist stuff, whether it be sexist stuff, whether it just be a hostile work environment. See, we just watch this on TV and hear what the dirt sheets say, or hear what some podcasters say. That's our news. But backstage, when they're dealing with this stuff, this thing could be extremely toxic. As of right now, people are naive. People thinking that, hey, look, situation's the head, but Vince is back, and no matter what happens, I gotta go to Triple H. Are you serious? If shit went through Triple H, Omos and Seth would not be fighting that Backlash. If we were going through Triple H, this new world title wouldn't be a thing right now. Because you know why? Because it wasn't always part of the plan. Because King of the Ring was part of the plan, and they had to cancel that. We will get to that. So it's optics. It's always been about optics. You recognize when this story about the Bianca Belair thing came out, all of a sudden we got the first black woman main event at WrestleMania? Seriously? Optics. It's all about.
Ooh, my boy, you pie in the day.
Yeah.
Ooh, you pie in the day.
It's
Go
all.
ahead, man. Keep going.
It's all about what you see, and now what we see is like, hey, that's a good. I'm not taking anything away from Sasha and Bianca, but I am reading this. I am now not mad that Naomi did not come back at all. Because why would I? To this, there's nobody on the staff. You mean to tell me out of all the writing staff, there's only one other black person, other than this one black woman that's trying to file this lawsuit? There's no other black people. There's no other Muslim people. There's no Hispanic people. Look at the characters that are different races. Look at the women's division. Why does it suck? Because there ain't no women writing for them. That's a problem.
That's very reminiscent of something I remember from the New Day podcast, that they was talking about how they was very frustrated with early New Day because they didn't have nobody that could relate to them, that was trying to give them these stories. Remember, they did start off as preachers, and it was like, this is absolutely what we didn't want. Yeah. And they said on their podcast, Vince pushed that. So that's what it was.
Exactly. Because what does Vince know? He sees the original tabernacle preacher, screaming Jesus, 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 and sweating from the forehead. Some southern pastor. That's what black people do, right? You know why Hit Row ain't get over? What does Vince know about a rapper? What does he know? Nothing. And then when you go to the main, how come Hit Row worked so well on NXT but did not work on the main roster and is not working now? It's written for you. It's written for you. And every time they give him like a shit gimmick for all these minorities, for all these people of color that's in this business, when they try to give them a gimmick, they try the best, like, let me try to make it work my way. Because who's going to know me better than me? And that's why is it that every time with Vince feels as though that, hey, we got to put all groups of people together in a storyline. What's the main storyline going into Puerto Rico in Backlash?
I would say Bad Bunny, LWO.
And Bad Bunny and Rey Mysterio versus Priest and Dom.
Guess what? Those are all Hispanic people.
Because it's in Puerto Rico.
All of them.
Exactly what. That's the only. Look, this is going to sound disrespectful.
They're not even Puerto Rican.
This is why Zelina Vega has this title match. I'm putting it out there. It's wrong, but it's honest.
Yeah, you are right about that. That's a big reason why she's having side match. But just like she is Puerto Rican, but I would say, but just like you were saying, Dom, Rey Mysterio, and the other, they're Mexican. And according to stuff I heard, they don't really get along like that. I don't necessarily know, so I'm not gonna sit here and start saying stuff.
Listen, we went to the high school up there in the mixed district.
Yeah,
we seen it. They don't get along.
They don't get along. And like I said, they don't get along like Albanians and Africans. They don't get along. I don't know what it is, but they don't get along. But even still, after her saying all that, that's not even what got her fired. What got her fired was each year at WrestleMania, for the event, WWE produces limited edition branded chairs, which we all know about. We got a couple of them, that employees have been allowed to keep following the events in previous years, according to the plaintiff. On March 29, 2022, days before WrestleMania 38 began, one of Abrams' co-workers asked her superior if the writers could take a chair when the event ended, the complaint says. The writers were told that they could so after the show. Abrams ended up taking a chair after the event, just like some other co-workers did, but was reprimanded according to the complaint. According to the plaintiff, excuse me. Meanwhile, white male writers weren't reprimanded, according to Abrams. On April 7th, 2022, Abrams was fired. So they may not say that my fingers are complaining or bringing these racial stereotypes attention to the head or anything.
Real quick. She got fired for getting a chair?
That's what they want to make it seem like.
Okay.
That she didn't do. We know why she got fired. Vince McMahon hires yes men. And Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard want these guys to suck their dick all day. That's what it is. Because there have been... I ain't go through the whole 30-page reports, because that's also that it comes up with them saying that there have been some white writers, because it was sitting there like she was kind of hurt, just to be honest, that none of her white co-workers came to, her aid. But then they came to her and Ms. Silvers behind the scenes saying, hey, I agree with you, but see that it's that but it's always that last line. Ain't that what Falcon said in Falcon Winter? It's always that last line. It says, they were too intimidated to say anything. It's one thing to be You cannot be racist, but it's hard to be anti-racist. And some people don't even know what the difference is. You can sit there and be like, hey, if this person calls me the N-word, I'm like, yo, bro, I don't agree with that, but that's on you. I'm not a racist, and I think it's inappropriate to say that word, but you saying it, so that's on you. That's like, I'm not racist. Being anti-racist is saying, yo, bro, don't use that language around me or around them. That takes balls to do. And everybody ain't got the balls to do that. Because don't nobody else want to be put. Who wants to be put on the line? Like, nobody wants to lose their job, or nobody wants to be, nobody wants to be the what they think is the bad guy. But we all have a little bit of that in us growing up. Whether how it does now, it's like that. Like right now, you're not going to racially discriminate somebody in front of me. I ain't just talking about black people. I'm talking about Hispanic people, Asian people, Native Americans, gays. Now, I ain't even doing that. I even checked my dad a couple times when it comes to talk about gay people. You're not going to do that in front of me. It takes a certain kind of person to do that. Have I always done that? No. There's a lot of times I sat oddly by and be like, all right, this is inappropriate, but I ain't going to say nothing. Yeah, that happened. But that's unfortunate when you have this situation in the workplace. And when Vince has created this toxic environment, then all of a sudden, it's like, okay, well, we're just going to deal with it because, like Quattro said, what's going to happen? Are we going to win? But isn't that the poisonous mindset? You shouldn't be doing things to win. You should be doing things just to make things better.